Hello to all of our newly admitted Tritons for fall 2023. On behalf of the International Students and Programs Office, also known as ISPO, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, or wherever you may be. My name is Vanessa Cisneros, and I'm an intake advisor here at ISPO. I'll be your host today. I'm fortunate to say I've spent the last 10 years living and working in international education in South Korea, Saudi, Mexico, and Japan. Since I worked primarily with first-year university students in these places, I know how both rewarding and challenging the adjustment to university can be. I also understand that you are only not beginning a new chapter of your life, but you're also doing that in a place that is likely far from family, friends, and the many comforts of home. I commend your decision to study internationally, and while it won't always be easy, I'm confident you'll find that the growth and the experience is worth it. I'll echo what you have likely heard throughout the entire orientation process. We here at ISPO are here for you and want nothing more than to support your academic and personal success. Please always feel free to join Zoom advising, email, or stop by the front desk if you have inquiries or concerns. We have a few housekeeping items before we begin our webinar today. First, you're on listen-only mode. You can hear us, but we can't hear you. Next, we're recording. The webinar will be posted at inewstudentwebinars.ucsd.edu. Lastly, please use the Q&A box to get your questions answered. Even if we aren't able to answer them today through chat or during our Q&A at the end of our session, there are a variety of ways to connect with ISPO and get those questions answered. Visit icontact.ucsd.edu to connect with us after today's session. Now let's begin. We are happy to welcome you to our session, Undergrad Academic Support, and introduce our three campus partners today: International Peer Coach, the Teaching and Learning Commons, and the Academic Integrity Office. To begin the presentation, each of our presenters will briefly introduce themselves before they dive into more detailed information later in the presentation. First, let's have Michelle introduce herself from the International Peer Coach Program.
Thank you, Vanessa. Hello, everyone. My name is Michelle Nguyen. My pronouns are she, her, and I am the International Peer Coach Program Coordinator that is housed under ISPO. And I'm going to go ahead and pass it back over to Vanessa.
Can we please have Teaching and Learning Commons? I believe Marie.
Yes. Hi, everyone. My name is Marie Shear, pronouns she, her, hers. I am one of the representatives from the Teaching and Learning Commons, representing Academic Achievement Services, and I'll pass it off to Chrissy Sharp.
Hi, everybody. So lovely to know that you're here with us this morning. I'm Chrissy Sharp. My pronouns are she, her, ella, and I get to work with Marie at the Teaching and Learning Commons as the Director of Writing Services, or the Writing Hub, as we're more commonly known.
Thank you. And I believe we have Jenny from Academic Integrity Office.
Hi, everyone. I'm an education coordinator here in the Academic Integrity Office. So I lead some of our educational trainings regarding academic integrity.
Thank you, everyone, for being here. The first part of our undergraduate academic support is going to be led by Miss Michelle.
Alrighty, thank you so much, Vanessa. So we are going to give an overview of the kind of typical or standard U.S. college classroom, and particularly at UCSD. So we're going to go over some classroom lingo, and I think it's always important to talk about this in the beginning just so that you all kind of have a foundational understanding of these terms, because once you get to college campuses, people are just going to be throwing terms, acronyms, all this slang at you, and then you're just going to have to absorb it, and we are here to help you with it right now. So there is I don't want to say major discrepancy between the professor and TA, but they are two valuable sources for you. So one, just so that we kind of go through the professor and TA status. So professors are experienced faculty members who most frequently, of course, do their research on campus and also with graduate students and sometimes with undergraduate students. These folks usually lead the lectures, of course, teach the courses, are the instructor of record. However, you have the TA that sometimes actually teaches the classes. You also have the TA who leads the discussion sessions. Most likely they are a graduate student, and they are the ones who grade you. So that's kind of the difference here. So yes, a professor has a lot of what I like to say institutional power. And whereas a TA, they do a lot of the kind of bulk work of the class, supporting the class academically, of course, but also just in general, physically and technologically, I guess. And then with professors and TAs, though, both of them, as an undergraduate student, you should totally view them as approachable sources, right? You please do attend their office hours, which we're going to be talking about. And both the professor and the TA will host their own office hours. I highly recommend going to both because you're going to always get two different perspectives. You get the professor's perspective, of course, but you get the TA's perspective, which I actually find a little bit more valuable sometimes because they themselves are graduate students. They have been in your shoes. Some of them have just graduated also from undergrad. So they want to help you and they've been there, done that, and so they fully empathize with you. So with office hours, of course, it's a place where you get to learn what you missed in class, right? Maybe you were sick on Monday. You're like, oh, shoot, let me make it up. Let me somehow figure out what these slides mean, right? Perhaps you have a question that you want to ask your professor or your TA. Please feel free to use that time. And just in general, if you're just confused with the material, that's the time and place to do so. Of course, if you can't make their office hours, I would say that every single person that I know at UCSD is more than happy to meet you outside of their office hours. I think in general, professors here and TAs especially value that one-on-one interaction with students. So please don't feel afraid to reach out. And then as far as syllabus, this is like the big term that you're going to hear in the next 2 weeks here. So a syllabus is what I call a contract to a class. It's also a brief description of what you can expect from the class. It has the grade breakdown, right? Like how much is this assignment weighted? There's a schedule of what is happening each day, each week, the entire quarter. And then it also lists when all of the assignments and tests are. It also has contact info for both the professor and the TA and also the greater department that the course is housed under. For folks, when you are contacting your professor and TA and you're asking like, oh, what day is this due? More than likely, you will be asked to look at the syllabus first. And this is simply due to the fact of sometimes a lecture hall, right? There's 300 students. A professor cannot answer all 300 emails if everyone's asking, unless their syllabus does not state it, right? But more than likely, there's a lot of labor and love that goes into a syllabus. So do look there first, read it over. And if you have any questions, again, always feel free to contact your instructors here. And then we have the lovely kind of duo here, lecture and discussion. These two are very different courses and different types of classes, but still nevertheless very, very important to attend. So a lecture is sort of like a podcast that you can't slow down or post. It's a classroom lesson. You sit there, you listen to the instructor, kind of give their knowledge and expertise on the topic of that day. And then whereas a discussion, it's a smaller based classroom. Typically, it can range anywhere from 15 to 25 students. And these smaller based classrooms are led by the TA, a grad student, talking about concepts you don't understand. They interact with the students one-on-one, and also in tandem with our conversation of what a lecture is, you're going to have a clicker for some courses. And this clicker is going to act as a way to have professors get their attendance. It's also a way for professors to quiz you. So clickers are very important to have. And pro tip, there are always people selling their clickers on campus. If you're trying to save money, please feel free to reach out to other undergraduate students who are also in the hustle with you. Okay, next slide, please. Thank you, Vanessa. All right, so we have a little bit more terms, and I'm gonna go through a lot of them rather quickly. So with curving is a term that we use for grading here. So sometimes a professor will curve a class in order to determine a grade that is not relative necessarily to the day or the year, but it's relative to your peers. So in a way, this allows for more equitable grading, but of course, it's variable actually when it comes to how the professor curves. So do check in with your professor if they are going to curve any grades. There's the lovely resource of Canvas and Triton Link, excuse me. So Canvas is going to be your home for all of your academic coursework. Triton Link is for everything else when it comes to paying your bills, paying rent, perhaps getting meal plans, and also when it comes to registration. And we're going to go through a few more of these, but overall, Triton Link is going to be a great hub when it comes to advising related matters. So speaking of advising, you're going to have to meet with an advisor eventually. And then there are 3 different types of advisors that you're probably going to come across during your first year here at UCSD, but in general, during your whole time here. So you have the college advisor. So they are going to be your advisor that you meet for your gen ed requirements particular to your home college. So if you're in 7th college, you're going to meet with your 7th college advisor sometime this year. And then for a department advisor, that's your major advisor. So if you are a literature major, for example, you're going to meet with someone from the literature department and kind of go through what are your major requirements. And then you have the lovely international advisor, which is what we do here at ISPO, such as Vanessa, yes, as she's waving here. And your international student advisor is going to help you with anything related to, for example, like your visa, your status in the US, but beyond that, right? If you're traveling out of the country, if you need some assistance with anything else, we're here to help you and kind of holistically support you there. You're also going to come across these terms first and second pass. This comes with registration. First pass, that means you get first pick of whatever else is left of the courses out there at UCSD. Second pass, that's your second round. So you're going to have to wait a few days, maybe about a week or 2, and then you get your second pass. Of course, we know you are freshmen, so you may not get your first pick. So I always like to give the advice of having multiple backups, right? You have class A, class B, class all the way to Z, and this will totally occur. You're not going to get your top 3 choices sometimes, and you're going to scramble, and that's okay. Please feel free to reach out to any of our resources, and we're here to help you. You have the lovely virtual advising center. We call them VAC for short. This is going to be the source that you go to when it comes to adding and dropping courses, doing special exemptions for courses as well. And lastly here, you have the lovely tutor and peer coach on this campus. Multiple departments have their own tutors, which is great. So please feel free to meet with the tutor, especially with the subject that you're struggling with. And then you have a peer coach who helps you also holistically here. If you need some assistance when it comes to socializing, perhaps, or you just want to have a friend to talk to, that's when you go to a peer coach. And at ISPO, we have our own peer coach program that is dedicated to the first year international student experience. Alrighty, okay. Thank you. So next we have these dimensions of cultural differences here. So it's Hofstede's cultural dimensions, and we have this slide here to kind of guide you through what are some of these cultural differences you may be going through your first year, right? So think about the power differences, reflect upon also your own biases when it comes to individualist or collectivist thought, your own biases to gender, of course, perhaps uncertainty and avoidance. And overall, I think it's very important here to think about short-term orientation goals and long-term orientation goals. Overall, this is the month of orientation where everyone's going to throw information at you, and it's going to be very overwhelming. And we understand that. So that is why also, if you have a question that you're dying and burning to ask us right now, but you kind of don't want to ask us and you want to ask us this in December or even next year, that's totally okay because our office is always open. And I say this for all of the offices that are here on this call. Next, we have the US classroom now. So we have these lovely diagrams, and at least at UCSD, we like to use both a teacher-centered and student-centered learning structure. So as I mentioned, we have the lecture kind of courses and we have the discussion courses. And many times we have courses that are deeply rooted in US history and culture. This is simply because the university itself is situated in the United States. When it comes to these classrooms, the culture itself is very individualist. There is somewhat of a hierarchy and power structure, excuse me. You have the professor, then you have the TA, then you have the students learning from these folks. And importantly, though, the student takes an active role in the United States. Students are expected to be active, to be communicative in class, and they are encouraged to speak up and ask questions at any time. And I'm curious to know, and perhaps just think about it to yourself, as far as with the classroom atmosphere here, what do you think is true? And, or perhaps do you think this is true, excuse me? Is it important to always give the correct answer when participating in class and never contradict the professor or another student? And Vanessa, I'm so sorry. I think it's next slide. Thank you. And for folks who are thinking false, you're absolutely correct. So it is okay to say what you think. You can always answer. You should view the question portion or discussion portions of class as a way to show how much you understand about the material, but also how much you don't understand. And that is okay, because we're not expecting you, or I don't think instructors are expecting you to be experts, right? You wouldn't be getting a degree if that was the case. So with all of this in mind, I think instructors value that conversation. It also engages them and brings them into the conversation and gets them awake and just lively. That's the whole point of academic discussion here. And of course, these discussions are not only helpful to you, it can help the others around you as well. So another question that I have, do you think if it's true, is it appropriate, excuse me, to use your cell phone during class as long as you're not being disruptive? I understand we live off of our cell phones. Some folks even take notes off of it because that is their preferred way of typing, and that's fair. But at the same time, I do want to know that it is false. If you do need to look up information during class, it would be more appropriate for you to look things up on your laptop or your iPad, your tablet, as opposed to your phone. And this is simply because there is that kind of sentiment here. When it comes to using your phones, it can be seen as disrespectful. So in general, you should only use technology for educational purposes, of course, while in the classroom. And I like to say you can always ask your professor first if using your cell phone is okay for taking notes. All right, so another fun question. Do you think if it's true or not, deadlines outside of the classroom are less strict than classroom deadlines? For example, signing up for housing, applying for leadership positions on campus, or perhaps jobs in the future. And absolutely false. Everyone follows a deadline here on this campus, no matter what. Whether it be for an assignment for your class, your midterm, or your final paper, or that job application that you're trying to get through, that scholarship that you're trying to get, right? You must follow these deadlines, particularly when it comes to adding and dropping your courses for these exemptions. And it's a hard deadline that the university will go through. And we really, really encourage folks to oblige by those deadlines. Overall, I think this section here, it's about highlighting that communication is key. So professors like to communicate on Canvas especially, and you obviously are experts on Canvas as you finished your iTriton already. And please feel free to message your professors via email. So be sure to always check your UCSD email. That's going to be your main source of communication. And when sending emails, context and formality are incredibly important. Please do use greetings, full sentences. You know, we're not necessarily friends with our instructors. You can't say sup necessarily. However, be as formal as you can, but as also polite and be you, right? Add details also about your situation or if you have any questions, and of course, include identifying information as well. And overall, this is very important, but we like to add it in here just to remind you all, be sure to read the entire email. Alrighty. So next, we have another fun question for you here. Do you think this is true or not? You need to speak to your international student advisor before considering dropping below 12 units. Your college academic advisor is not the only person to speak to when doing this, excuse me. And if you're thinking that is true, that is absolutely true. So you definitely need to talk to your student advisor, international, student advisor, because you always need to have 12 units. If you want to drop or if you need to drop before 12, talk to someone at ISPO and you may be eligible to have a reduced course load. And that's going to obviously be a little bit more paperwork, but again, more than happy to assist you there. So overall, with advising now, an overview of it, the role of advisors on this campus is to provide information, present options, but ultimately, overall, it's to empower the students. It's about making sure that the students know of their options and know of their decisions and be knowledgeable about their decisions. There are many types of advisors on this campus, right? Again, there are the college academic advisors for your respective college. There are the major and department advisors. We kind of use those terms interchangeably. And we also have the ISPO advisors. And lastly, we have student organization advisors as well. So overall, each advisor plays a slightly different role, but again, the big term here is advisor. And there is a difference between or amongst, all of these advisors. So check your plans with all three advisors before making a huge academic change. And one of these huge academic changes that may occur is changing your entire major. And that's totally okay. Do not fear it, embrace it. And we support it. And again, it's just about knowing your resources and talking to the right person to make sure that you're on track. Okay, and we have some lovely resources on campus, which they are going to talk about, but I just wanted to kind of briefly mention we have the Teaching and Learning Commons on this campus that also house the Academic Achievement Hub, the Writing Hub. We have OASIS, the Office of Academic Support and Instructional Services. They also have a lovely language and writing program, math and science tutorial program. You can definitely check them out on their website. OASIS definitely a place that I always like to refer students out to. And resources on campus include your professor, right? Your TA. Do attend their office hours if you can. If you can't, just email them. We also have the lovely Office of CAPS, which is the Counseling and Psychological Services. They are housed in Galbraith and Revelle College. They are definitely folks you want to go to if you're feeling some notions of cultural shock, isolation, perhaps you're having a hard time assimilating and also not even assimilating. It's just about being in the United States, right? And then lastly, you have the lovely, wonderful Office of International Student Programs Office, ISPO itself. So I just want to highlight, with all of this in mind, at ISPO, we try to be as organized as possible on our website. So if you have any questions or you want to have a house of resources, go to iresource.ucsd.edu, and you're going to have a bunch of drop boxes, and they're going to be very, very helpful for you if you're trying to find some information. I think a big one here, textbooks, real quick here. You're going to have many options to buy books. And as an undergraduate student, oftentimes professors will make you buy a book. So you have UCSD bookstore, but you don't also necessarily need to buy it from UCSD bookstore. You also have Amazon rentals, right? You have also other rental sources online that you can definitely get cheaper books for. There are also online versions of books, like ebooks, that you can purchase for half the price. There's also the great massive page on Facebook, UCSD Free and for Sale, and students are always selling their books, particularly at the end of a quarter or beginning of a quarter, because they just don't need their Econ 1 book anymore or something like that. Do check it out. There are always folks selling, and then there's also UCSD textbook sharing Facebook group. Overall, please do not buy illegal books. That is something that we definitely frown upon. And if you want other resources upon it, please do check out an IPC and International Peer Coach. There are great resources for that. So we also have some wonderful language resources. We have English in Action, language conversation tables that also happen at iHouse. And then lastly here, we have the International Peer Coaching Program. So peer coaches, the IPCs, are international students like you who like to help you navigate this new endeavor that is college, right? So if you have a desire to get connected on campus, you have an interest in having a mentor, and you want some support for adjusting to American culture and just in general university life, do check us out at ipeercoaching.ucsd.edu. And then our next slide here just has our lovely IPCs. They're very, very friendly. They don't bite, and they are always more than happy to talk to you. They love talking, so do hit them up. And overall, as an IPC program, what we provide here is one-on-one peer mentoring sessions with your designated IPC. There's a designated IPC per college. They also have weekly personalized newsletters that you're going to get in the next 3 weeks. And we also host many events. We have social events, professional development events, and fun mixers throughout the entire year. So if you ever want to check us out, do check us out at ipeercoaching.ucsd.edu. And then you can sign up to be a mentee in about 2 weeks. We officially start seeing folks on Monday, October 3rd. So I know I smashed through that, but Vanessa, I'm going to go ahead and give it back to you.
Thank you so much for sharing all of the resources. Yeah, I myself learned a lot, so I hope that the students have also enjoyed learning about it. Next, we have our colleagues at the Teaching and Learning Commons, and I have a feeling that this is going to be a very important resource for our undergraduate students. So yeah, if we could please have Miss Marie.
Hello, everyone. Again, my name is Marie Shear, and I'm going to be one of the individuals alongside Christy Sharp, chatting through the Teaching and Learning Commons and what it is that we do. So Teaching and Learning Commons, what does that even mean? We have the teaching side and we also have the learning side. So teaching, we help support faculty and helping make classroom life more engaging. But then we also have the learning side, and that's what we're going to focus on today. We have programs that help support students both inside and outside of the classroom. And so today we're really going to focus on that inside of the classroom piece, specifically with academic achievement services, as well as our writing and communication services. So within our academic achievement services, we have 2 main programs: supplemental instruction, it's also known as SI, as well as our content tutoring program. Both of our programs, I should note, hire peer educators. What do I mean by peer educators? Essentially, we hire current undergraduate students to help you be successful in your coursework. We really believe that help seeking, asking for help, is a good thing. And what better way to do it in your learning than with your peers? So with peers who have taken the course previously, done well in that course, and now their role is to help you be successful, but then also learning from your peers who are currently enrolled in the class. And so within all of our services, we really try and embody that peer educator approach. So within SI, how does that look? We support historically difficult courses. Essentially, how we define that is courses that a lot of students have formerly struggled with. And so that includes the courses that you'll see listed below. This is subject to change, but in general, we support a lot of biology, chemistry, economics, math, management, psychology, and physics courses. And then within SI, we have an SI leader, again, that peer educator who has taken the class previously. They've done well in it. They've gone through a pretty rigorous training with us. And then they're essentially taking the class again with you, not for a grade, but they're in lecture with you. They're taking notes. And then they are hosting study sessions outside of class, outside of your discussion section, that will help you learn and reinforce the material that you're learning in class. Again, from a peer who has taken the class previously, who can sort of give different tips and tricks and a piece of advice from someone who has recently been in your shoes, someone who has experienced that class previously. I know it was said previously, in the United States, learning a lot of times is very active and very hopefully fun and engaging. You're going to be an active participant in your coursework, and SI is really no exception. And so really encourage SI sessions to be highly collaborative, fun, engaging. We're going to get really hands-on with the material. And hopefully that can help you feel more connected to the material, more connected to your peers, and really make learning a community endeavor. So we'll move on to content tutoring. This is going to be more of your traditional tutoring format. So let's say you were enrolled in a course, one of these courses that are listed here below: biology, chemistry, economics, math, physics, statistics, and you're struggling with a particular concept, or maybe you just want more mastery in a particular concept. And so what you can do is you can set up an appointment, either virtual or in person, or you can come to our drop-in hours and then meet with a tutor who can help you master that particular concept. So SI is more course-based, it's more lecture-based, and then content tutoring is more topic-based. So a little bit of a differentiation there. And then as well with our content tutoring, it's typically more one-on-one. However, there might be 1 to 2, one tutor to 2 students, but more traditionally one-on-one. So that's where you get to ask tutors specific questions related to a concept that maybe you find challenging in a particular course that's listed there. Again, I should highlight all of our services are hybrids. That means we offer both in-person as well as virtual options for all of our services. And at this point, I will pass it off to Chrissy to chat through writing and communications.
Hi, folks. Again, I just want to flag that this slide tells you a little bit about other services that might be useful for you at the Teaching and Learning Commons. Our colleagues in experiential learning are here for you for any of your experiences that might exist outside of what we typically consider as purely academic. So outside of the classroom space, you might eventually be part of an internship experience or a community outreach experience, or even if you work as a peer mentor here through ISPO or through the Teaching and Learning Commons, whatever it is that you do outside the classroom setting, our colleagues in experiential learning are here to help you remember that that too is part of the learning that you're undertaking. There is something through their program called the CCR, or co-curricular record, that will track those experiences and will enable you to add that to your transcript when eventually you're applying to internship or job opportunities, to really highlight those competencies that you've acquired through these learning experiences that might not be in the classroom itself. So I wanted to flag that, and to flag too that the Real Portal that's mentioned here is a great place for you to start poking around with. Even now, even as you're entering your time here at UCSD, it will be a place where you can find opportunities for internships and for professional and adjacent experiences where you can learn and grow at UCSD. And this is a little bit more about one particular part of our experiential learning experience here at UCSD. It's called the Academic Internship Program. Again, what I'd encourage you to do is to look at our experiential learning website and see what's available there. One program that's particularly popular, I know that, yes, that the arrow is highlighting there, is our Washington, D.C. program, the UCDC program, the Sacramento program, and there is especially this biology research internship program. These are really great examples of the ways in which, if you wanted to sort of stretch your learning outside of our particular community here, just on campus, that there are lots of pathways for you to do that and to, to learn in ways that complement what you're learning in your classroom spaces. Now, I am more of an expert in our writing services, and so I'm going to spend a little bit more time talking about this. But I wanted you to know I answered at least one question in our chat, and I'm coming at this work from the perspective of a faculty member who has been teaching writing for over 20 years and who has been directing a writing center for just as long. And so what I'm going to share with you today, I think, is truly what you can expect from this community that you're entering into here, where writing is really important. Communication, broadly speaking, is going to be really important to you as you begin your journey here at UCSD. Wanted to make sure too that you all had our link that Grace has kindly put into the chat. You can, I would invite you to definitely poke around our website and see what opportunities are available to you within the world of writing services at the Teaching and Learning Commons. But I want you to know that we at the Teaching and Learning Commons, through writing services, believe we're all writers, and that we all bring our writing strengths to our community here. And that includes you all. You're bringing your global languaging and writing strengths to our community, and that's a really big deal. We also believe that writing in community with our peers is an ideal way to learn and grow. That's true for undergrads, and that is also true for faculty, I've got to tell you. So any of us who are writers, this is a really great way for us to continue to stretch ourselves and grow and communicate effectively. We know that in a university setting, writing is actually this tool that we use to learn and to share our perspectives. Writing is an iterative process. It's something that changes over time. It involves challenge. It involves ongoing growth. It sometimes involves writing a draft and then going back and revising it. It involves ongoing growth in our understanding, in other words, of how to communicate effectively with others. It's not just a one-way path. There's lots of kind of dancing along that path. And our peer writing tutors are very familiar with that process of becoming through writing and thinking through writing. They are trained to guide you through your own writing journey as you identify and set and then achieve your own goals as a writer while you're here at UCSD. So what can you expect through writing services at the Teaching and Learning Commons? We provide you with opportunities to meet with trained peer writing consultants. These are folks just like you who represent a variety of backgrounds and majors, and they include international and multilingual students who are also working with us in writing services. They offer one-on-one writing support where you can discuss your writing assignments from your college writing program, writing assignments in the disciplines, so when you move beyond your writing programs, writing projects and capstones from any other classes that you might be taking, and also writing that you're not necessarily working on for classes, right? For non-class project, this might be grad school applications or cover letters or Fulbright or other scholarship applications and more. Our services are going to be available, by the way, starting October 2nd. We use that first week to finish training, and then we are open for business and to meet with you. You can meet with our consultants in a couple of ways. You can meet face-to-face. We're located in Geisel Library on the first floor, which actually is downstairs. That always confuses me, but we're downstairs in Geisel Library, really central in campus. Or you could meet online, actually. So like Marie's services, we provide our services in a hybrid form, and you can sign up online as you navigate our website. There will be instructions there on how to sign up for appointments with our consultants. When you sign up for a consultation and you meet with your consultant, either in person or online, there are some things that I'd like you to know to expect. Expect to engage in a conversation about your work with a curious reader, someone who really wants you to succeed and who is familiar with writing and communication expectations here at UCSD. Expect that you can discover how someone, your consultant, might react to your writing, and then they'll ask you some questions they've thought about to help you continue thinking through an assignment and really to take that next step in your journey as a writer with this particular assignment in mind. You should expect to delve deeper into writing as a process, not just a product, but also a process through this conversation that will help you bridge this gap between what you're thinking and then how you make that thinking visible for your audience. You can expect to develop your writing and revision strategies, and that this will be applied not just to one class, but really to all future courses that you might take. And hopefully what we're really hoping for is that we can all come together and understand and appreciate language. Writing is just one way in which we language together as this tool for empowerment. We also offer some workshops throughout the year on various topics. We'll have some drop-in hours that are available. If you just walk in, we can actually help you out with that. And we'll be at the Transfer Hub and the Black Resource Center as well this year. Also, please be on the lookout for our call for applications for peer writing consultants. We hire students in writing services. I know Marie's team does as well. We send out our call for applications in the spring, and we really are looking for folks who care about writing and who want to support their peers. So that's a little bit about writing services, and we're really looking forward to seeing you at the Teaching and Learning Commons.
Wow, thank you, Marie and Chrissy. I really appreciate all that information. It's been quite a long time since I was in my undergraduate career. However, I will say that these really are resources that are available to you to empower you and really to enhance your education here at UCSD and beyond. So thank you so much for giving us more information about the Teaching and Learning Commons. And students, I hope that you take advantage of all of these resources. So thank you again to Miss Marie and Miss Chrissy. Next, we have academic integrity, and we will have Jenny. Jenny, please. Thank you.
Thank you. First of all, congratulations, everyone, for starting here at UCSD, and welcome. I'm here to talk to you about the Academic Integrity Office. So why does our office exist? Our mission is to promote and support a culture of integrity in order to reinforce quality teaching and learning here at UC San Diego. Yeah, you can go to the next slide. Academic integrity at its core protects the value of your degree. Excuse me. When you apply for internships, when you apply for jobs, graduate school, doors may open based on the strength of UCSD's academic reputation. Essentially, do other people trust that the degrees that are conferred here are an accurate reflection of the knowledge and skills that people gain? So we want to keep the value of that degree for you and for everyone else who's going to come through UCSD, and we need academic integrity to do that. How do we define academic integrity here? So we use this definition, which is the courage to be honest, respectful, responsible, fair, and trustworthy, even when it is difficult to do so. So you might notice this definition isn't school specific. It doesn't have a language like plagiarism or cheating. It's really about these fundamental values that are probably things that you already care about in your personal lives. They're things that you're going to care about in your professional lives. They're things that are great to cultivate. I'll go over some more concrete examples of academic integrity violations on the next slide. But a good rule of thumb is that if you're ever unsure if something is an academic integrity violation or not, think about these 6 core values. Does what you're about to do uphold these 6 core values? And if so, you were probably acting with integrity. We can go to the next slide. So here are some examples of times violations that may not act with integrity. Examples of things that can be considered an academic integrity violation here. The first is completing an academic assignment with other people without permission. This is also called unauthorized collaboration. So collaboration is great. One of the cool things about college, you get to collaborate with your peers and learn together, but you want to be very cognizant of what are the rules that the instructor has laid out for what kinds of collaboration are allowed. This can be tricky because each of your instructors may have different rules. Those rules may differ depending on the assignment. Just because something's allowed in one class doesn't mean that it's going to be allowed in all of your classes. And it's your responsibility to be aware of what are the rules and expectations for collaboration for each course and also each assignment in that course. Wireless is using sources without citations, also known as plagiarism. This also covers paraphrasing without citation. And I know the library has a lot of great resources for you to learn more about plagiarism and paraphrasing, because that can be an academic integrity violation. Copying another student's assignment in part or in total. This can be intentionally or unintentionally. We really don't recommend sharing work when you're not authorized to do so by the instructor. You might have times where you think, oh, I just want to get inspiration, or I just want to see how my friend did it. That can very easily fall into copying, even if you don't set out planning to do so. So please be aware of that. We really don't recommend sharing your work unless it's within the confines of allowed collaboration for that reason. Obviously, copying anything from the internet, copying off of anyone without their consent, paying anyone in part or completely to complete an assignment for you to complete anything. And then finally, using a tool that you've not been told you can use. So this is kind of like unauthorized collaboration. Different instructors may have different rules for using outside tools. If you have not been explicitly told that you can use something, you should assume that you cannot. And that includes things that maybe seem like they're just, oh, I've already done a lot of the ideas. I'm just going to use ChatGPT to synthesize them. If you've not been told that you can use that, do not use it. It can be an academic integrity violation. Next slide, please. So when I was going over some of these examples, you might have thought, that's not something I'd ever do, or that doesn't really apply to me. But it's really important to note that anyone can be tempted to cheat. Anyone can be in a situation in which they might be tempted or they might consider doing something that goes against academic integrity. And that doesn't mean you're a bad student. It doesn't mean you're a bad person. It just means that in life and in school especially, we have stressful moments where sometimes it seems like an easier option might be to cheat. I'm not going to go over all of these different stressors just for time's sake, but one thing that I will say is that it's really important to plan ahead sometimes. So when you're in those stressful moments, you already have a plan in place. So when you look over these challenges, or maybe think about challenges that you faced in the past or challenges you anticipate maybe facing in the future, and have a plan. Think about what you can do in those challenging moments to encourage yourself to choose integrity, or how you can try to prevent those challenging moments from happening. For example, if you know that you're someone who struggles with procrastination, trying to keep on top of your time management, or if you know that you're struggling with the material in the course, you can go to office hours, you can ask questions from your TAs and professors proactively before you get into a place where you're feeling like the assignment's due in 20 minutes and you don't know how to answer. Next slide, please. But what are some consequences to acting without integrity? So what are some consequences if you do cheat and you are found responsible? It can affect your GPA. You might have a hold placed on your account that makes it difficult to enroll. You may fail an assignment or the entire course. A professor does have full discretion over what kind of academic sanction they can put down. So keep that in mind. They might even explain it in their syllabus. Again, that kind of contract, they might tell you a little bit more about what to expect. You may face probation, suspension, or dismissal. And if any of these things happen, please talk to ISPO. They're there to help you and help you prepare and kind of know what you need to do with regards to visa statuses or anything else. Our office is also there to help you as well for more specific questions. And then finally, besides these kind of academic sanctions, it can impact your learning. So when you are going through your classes, think about, why are you here at UCSD? What are you hoping to gain? Your education and the actual learning you're doing is really the most important. And that's a sort of foundation that's going to help you maybe in the next class. And it's really important not to cut those corners. Sorry, you can go to the next slide now. But again, you can choose integrity. As I said, you can prepare, you can have a plan, and here are some of the things that you can do. Know the rules and standards, refer to the syllabus, ask for clarification. If you don't understand, know what's considered an academic integrity violation. We have an academic integrity policy here at UCSD. You can always reach out to our office to ask for more clarification. Use reliable on-campus resources. We went over a bunch of really great ones. There are places and people here on campus who are happy to help you and who are trained to help you. And again, kind of thinking about what challenges you know that you might face and how you're going to proactively prepare to meet those challenges. Next slide. And I just want to keep reiterating, when you're working through your learning, if you're struggling with the material, the best thing to do is to seek help. And the best place to do that is on campus, using those on-campus resources that are reliable. I want to reiterate that office hours are really important. They're open, they're there for you, a resource for you. You should take advantage of it. And I also want to say that the on-campus resources, part of why we really push them is that people are trained to give you help and give you support within the confines of academic integrity. So you just heard about supplemental instruction at the Teaching and Learning Commons. You can get help from someone who's taken the class before. And that's great, because if you talk to your friend who took the class before, they're not trained, they might not be trained as a tutor. They might not know how to give you help in a way that supports your learning and doesn't violate academic integrity policies. So please take advantage of the resources that our campus has to offer you. Our office is available if you have any questions. We have student staff on campus at our office who are there to meet with you one-on-one before and after a violation, so you can reach out proactively. And we are all invested in your success. So please, again, I think maybe the main goal of this presentation has been to reach out and ask for help and take advantage of those resources that are available to you. Thanks.
Thank you, Jenny. I think you made a very intimidating topic very approachable. So I hope something that our students felt or while they were listening is that if you have any questions, please do ask. And I would like to echo the concern for it with undergraduate students, this first year of university, it's quite normal for students to be adjusting to the standards of academic integrity. But I've also worked at universities in 4 different countries, and I can also tell you that the academic integrities might have their own institutional or cultural norms in different places around the world. But at UCSD, the standard will be UCSD's academic integrity. So always echoing what Jenny has said, please be sure to ask questions when you're not sure, because not to scare anyone, but we do work with students who are getting academic dismissals, disqualifications, suspensions. And of course, for our international students, that has an impact on your visa status. So there's that extra layer of consideration when thinking about this. Thank you again, Jenny. So we are going to have Michelle share some information with us about getting involved.
Thank you so much, Vanessa. So I will try to be as brief and succinct as possible here. So we're gonna go ahead and go to the next slide. And it's a fun one. So why getting involved is important. So overall, oh, interesting. I love how there's this graphic that's just above over it. But you're here to study, right? On campus. And I think that's the common kind of trope here when it comes to just going to university, but also particularly studying abroad and studying internationally. And that's not always the case. You're kind of here to grow as an individual, to become who you are meant to be and who you want to be. So overall, as much as, yes, having your academic studies are incredibly important, it's also very important to have a balanced life and be involved on campus. So if you hope to work or study in the US after university, definitely do build on your skills, such as communication skills, right? The ability to work with other teams, your team skills, your leadership skills. This is always something that's super important. And of course, networking. And there's such a giant network at UCSD. So feel free to use those resources and find those opportunities to have those networking sessions. And overall, it's super fun to socialize, to get to know folks. You never know who you're going to meet today, who's going to potentially help you tomorrow. And we have the lovely ISAC. So ISAC is an acronym for the International Students Advisory Council. And this is a great way to get involved on campus, particularly as an international student. And overall, if you want to join the Advisory Council, what they do typically is that we meet once a month, and then we discuss unique concerns of international students. We work on resources and advocacy for international students, but overall, the group itself is made up of international students, both undergraduate and graduate students, student leaders from various organizations such as Associated Students, GPSA for grad students, and then members of cultural and international student organizations on campus. And there's always going to be an ISPO representative at ISAC meetings. So if you want more information about that, do visit isac.ucsd.edu. And then getting involved also can mean having something on your transcript here. And we have a great opportunity to have it on your transcript, which is the co-curricular record. And we have the globally engaged Tritons opportunity. So what is a co-curricular record? It's basically an addendum to your transcript. So your transcript has your great and beautiful grades, your GPA, what classes you took and everything. And then there's going to be a second page. And that second page will say all of the wonderful accolades that you participated in and received at UCSD. And if you're interested, you should definitely check out the Globally Engaged Tritons opportunity, because it enables all UCSD students to earn credit for being involved in events on campus that promote global engagement and internationalization on our university. And you're already doing so by being an international student and attending the orientation events. So just pick up on those hours. And if you have any information there about gaining this opportunity and gaining this record on your transcript, check out getccr.ucsd.edu. And apologies. If you have any questions in general about any of this and getting involved on campus, do email us at, do check out our website at istudents.ucsd.edu. Contact also us over at ISPO at icontact.ucsd.edu. And overall, we just want to highlight some of our lovely events. We have meetups that are happening this week. We have orientation events that are happening throughout the next couple of weeks. And do check them out on iEvents. The calendar itself is ievents.ucsd.edu, and it's going to be your main source of all things international or globally engaged related events. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and pass it over back to Vanessa. Oh, apologies. Okay. There's also a lovely giveaway. I'm so sorry about that. So if you choose to follow us on Instagram, it's at ispo.ucsd.edu. You're going to like that giveaway post, and then you're going to take a picture at an orientation event, such as tonight. There is the International Peer Coach Open House if you are wanting to attend. And you're going to share it on your Instagram story, tag ISPO back on it, and then we're going to reshare it. And then these pictures are going to provide you an opportunity to join the giveaway. And the giveaway ends Sunday, September 24th. So check it out. And if you are a winner, a lucky winner, you're going to get those prizes, the gift card and a very unique ISPO t-shirt. So overall, that is the ending portion when it comes to getting involved, and there's going to be a survey to take now. Please take a moment if you have the opportunity to do so, to fill out the survey so we can better serve you and better serve our international students. And I'm going to perhaps provide Vanessa now the opportunity to speak.
Thank you, Michelle. So what I'm hearing is there's no excuses for us not to get to know you better, everyone who's attended the session today. So a few final reminders while you're filling out the survey for us. Please submit your check-in form via iPortal. This is what was going to activate your I-20 and is critical for your immigration status. So make sure that you can Google ISPO I-20 activation and you'll find the instructions there, but please make sure you do it. Register for other sessions at iorientationucsd.com if you'd like to hear from us more. And of course, you can always contact us at icontact.ucsd.edu And that eye contact link that will give you options for email and also for our Zoom advising and also our hours for our front desk if you would like to come and speak to us in person. So thank you all again for attending today's session. Whether you're joining us from inside the US or from the other side of the world, on behalf of the International Students and Programs Office here at UC San Diego, enjoy the rest of your afternoon, evening, or morning, and have a great fall quarter, and we'll see you at our next session.